I think there are two types of elections in, Latin America and worldwide, right? So there's the elections where people vote with their heart, an election where people vote with the liver, right? And I think Bolivia, this election was a bit more on that side, right? So it's a liver vote.
Bolivia, we know a lot. We know bits here and there. Everybody knows Evo Morales, but perhaps let's start with the second round of the elections, which was kind of groundbreaking when we saw Rodrigo Paz. Well, he was the victor against Jorge Tuto Quiroga.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting development. I think part of the challenge was to identify who was profiling as their runner-up and who was going to be Bolivia's next president. I think some of the challenges were the way in which political analysts address this issue. So everybody was curious about that. Rodrigo Paz was a bit of a surprise in the first round. Not too many. I think for some people, they saw that coming. And it's not when we put this in a comparative Latin American context, we saw that in the past, right? So Fujimori kind of coming out of nowhere, becoming president of Peru. So it was a build-up moment that not that many analysts had the sensibility to catch that one. So the second round was a bit of a projection of this unknown of, what might not happen. And the same thing, it's easy to kind of do the ex post when the dead body's on the table and then you remove the organs. So I think, talking about organs, I think there are two types of elections in, Latin America and worldwide, right? So there's the elections where people vote with their heart, an election where people vote with the liver, right? And I think Bolivia, this election was a bit more on that side, right? So it's a liver vote, as in know who I like, but who I dislike the least, right? And I think when you look at the analysis, Tuto Quiroga reached a plateau, right? So Tuto Quiroga had a traditional political base built on, we'll talk about that, socioeconomics and regional interests. But I think his projection beyond that constituency was going to be a very difficult one. And Rodrigo Paz did what he was supposed to do as a leading candidate, but also as somebody that most Bolivians have hope, in the sense that he will provide solutions to the economic foes and and some of the long-standing social and political issues.